Namaste, welcome back to the session of basic thermodynamics. In the previous session, we have ended up with the pure substances, wherein we have looked on to the definition and few phase diagrams and measurement of the dryness fraction of the given steam as well as problem solving skills. So now I will be moving on to the new module, wherein we will be dealing with ideal gases, real gases and mixture of ideal gases or perfect gases. This is what is the new module name. The module number is module number 5. So before moving on to the content of the module number 5, let us try to understand what exactly the ideal gas is, why the ideal gas requirement is there for us. We know, as the name itself indicates, or the name itself is saying that ideal, in the sense it is an idea, it is an hypothetical one, wherein we are going to assume this much, these kind of activities may be there or may not be there, wherein we are going to put certain assumptions, we are going to dump certain ideas. For example, if I have to say the given gas is an ideal gas, for an ideal gas, a lot of assumptions we are going to make at the initial stage itself. Few such assumptions are: ideal gas doesn't occupy any volume. We know in nature any substance is going to occupy the volume, but initial assumption itself is ideal gas is not going to occupy the volume. Next assumption is there is no interaction between the ideal gas molecules. This will not happen in the nature. Nature doesn't allow us to go through these kind of things. Next thing is all the collisions, in case collisions happens, then all those collisions are elastic in nature. Such collisions which are happening in the molecules of the gases will not always be elastic. These kind of assumptions are made to consider the gas as an ideal gas. These are all the ideas, these are all the assumptions that we are going to dump at the initial stage itself. Why it is required? Because we are trying to look on to the behavior of the ideal gas, how the gas can behave at various situations. We are looking on to the properties of a gas which is considered as ideal gas. If these are all the things, then what would be the effectiveness with which we are running the system with these kind of gases? That means what? This gas is going to set a benchmark. This gas is going to set us the reference with which we can deal with other gases. I can take this as the reference and I can look for other gases properties, behavior by looking onto this, by comparing onto this. Real gases are those, they are behaving as per the nature. What is nature allowing, that is how they are behaving. Those gases are nothing but the real. Reality is there, real gases. Here ideas are there, ideal gas. By keeping this idea, we are going to compare how real gases are when compared with that of the ideal gas. So that is what is the ideal gas for us. By keeping all these assumptions, mathematically we have already formed, we have already formulated ideal gas equation. Based on that, lot of science has been occurred. But make sure none of the gas is an ideal gas in the nature, but we have to say, or we have to consider one such gas as the ideal gas, wherein it is going to behave almost like an ideal gas. To this part we will come at the later stages. At this stage, make sure it is an hypothetical gas. Next thing is mixture of perfect gases. Here ideal gas itself is considered as the perfect gas. Here we will be looking onto mixture of perfect gases. So we have ideal gas equations, mixture of perfect gases, then real gases. Now I will be dealing with ideal gas, what we have talked with now, and then I will be talking with respect to mixture of perfect gases, wherein we will be having the combination of various gases which are considered as ideal gases. That is what is the mixture of ideal gases. Along with that, behavior of the ideal gases. So that is what is we are going to look into now at the initial stage itself. So that is what I have called it as a mixture of ideal gases or mixture of perfect gases. Perfect, it is a perfect gases, mixture of perfect gases. So now let us look on to the various notations what I am going to use at the initial stage itself, so that I can define various terms related to mixture of perfect gases. We knew in order to consider the mixture or in order to say the given substance as a mixture, we need to have lot of individual gases, individual constituent gases. For that purpose, I have made a tabular column over here. Wherever I will be using the constituents, there may be multiple constituents. Multiple gases are responsible to say it as a mixture. I have taken 3 such gases to analyze it very simply. Constituent gases are A, B, C. Constituent gas A, constituent gas B, constituent gas C. By mixing all these 3 A, B, C, I have the mixture. Now I have denoted various denotions for constituents as well as for the mixture. So now make sure small p is the pressure, capital V is the volume, capital T is the temperature, small m is the mass, small n is the number of moles. Now for the constituent gas, P suffix A stands for this constituent A, V volume, T temperature, M suffix A is constituent gas A's mass, N suffix A is nothing but number of moles of constituent gas A. In such a way, Pb, Vt, Mb, Nb for the constituent gas B. For constituent gas C, Pc, Vt, Mc and Nc. So for constituent gases, I am going to use suffixes, corresponding suffixes as per their names. For the mixture, I am using notations which doesn't have any suffixes, P, V, T, M and N. By looking onto the notations, one such thing has to be observed, Vt, 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 Vt. Even in constituent gas column and even in mixtures column, I have not denoted any suffixes over there. What I mean to say is, if I consider the mixture of perfect gases, it should be very clear that the entire mixture is occupying certain volume. Now, I am unable to say what is the volume occupied by constituent gas A, what is the volume occupied by constituent gas B, what is the volume occupied by constituent gas C, so that I can summate them and I can say overall volume occupied by the mixture of gases is this. No, it is not possible, because molecules of the gases are widely spread. I mean, there are a lot of distances between molecules of the gases. So what is there in reality? The gases are occupying the entire volume in which it is stored. In the sense, entire mixture volume and individual gases volume will be the same. Next thing is temperature. I cannot say this constituent gas has this temperature, this constituent gas has this temperature, this constituent gas has this temperature, and by merging all those things or by taking average of all those things, I can say mixture of the perfect gases temperature is this. No. Entire mixture will be having the same temperature and individual gases will also be having the same temperature. We need to keep this in mind at the initial stage itself. I can have various pressure, I can have mass, various masses, I can have number of moles, various number of moles for constituent gases, individual gases, wherein the mixture as well as the constituent gases should have same volume as well as same temperature. They should occupy the same volume, they should be having the same temperature. Please keep this in mind before going with any analysis. So now it is very clear, for mixture without suffixes I will be using the property notations, for constituents I will be using certain notations. By keeping this in mind, I will be looking on to various terms that I am going to differ or that I am going to define for mixture of perfect gases. Let us start with that. Very first one is total mass. Here we need to understand total mass. I have 3 constituent gases. This is the restriction what I have put to make the analysis very simple. A, B, C. These are the constituent gases. By mixing all those gases, I have formed the mixture of gases. That is nothing but mixture of perfect gas. Now I need total mass. What is the notation for total mass? Which is nothing but m. So the definition is total mass, which is nothing but m. If I want m, how many constituent gases I have? 3. Mass of the constituent gas A, mass of the constituent gas B, mass of the constituent gas C. If I add all those things, I will get the total mass of the mixture. As simple as that. Total mass of the mixture, notation is m, and if I summate all the individual gases masses, I will get the total mass of the mixture. This is the formula. M is the total mass of the mixture, individual masses, which is nothing but mass of constituent gas A plus mass of constituent gas B plus mass of constituent gas C. So this is what is the total mass formula for mixture of gases. So this is the base. Next thing is mass fraction. The next term is nothing but mass fraction. Here I am looking for the fraction. All these fractions can be defined only for constituent gases. The fraction cannot be defined for the mixture. Let me say, mass fraction is denoted by m suffix f. Look into this. Small m stands for mass, f stands for fraction, m suffix f. What is this m suffix f? Which is nothing but, if I want mass fraction of constituent A, which is nothing but mass of constituent gas A divided by overall mass of mixture, which is nothing but m. Mass fraction is defined as the ratio of mass of the constituent gas to the mass of the mixture. This is nothing but the total mass of the mixture. This is nothing but the mass of the constituent gas A. This ratio is nothing but mass fraction of constituent gas A. In the similar fashion, you can define mass fraction of constituent gas B. What is this? mB divided by m. In the same fashion, you can define mass fraction of constituent gas C, which is nothing but mC divided by m. For individual gases, for constituent gases A, B, C, it is possible to define the mass fractions. So now we have known the definition of mass fraction. There is something hidden over there. If I elaborate that, if I consider summation of mass fractions. Say, look, MFA is nothing but the mass fraction of constituent gas A, MFB is nothing but the mass fraction of constituent gas B, MFC is nothing but the mass fraction of constituent gas C. I have considered this, what it is going to give me. To look onto that, I have considered that. Now, write the definitions. What is MFA? MA by M, MA by M plus what is MFB? MB by M. What is MFC? MC by M. Am I right on that? So now I will take the LCM. M, what I will get? MA plus MB plus MC. What it is going to give me? MA plus MB plus MC. What is that? MA plus MB plus MC, which is nothing but M. Am I right on that? So M divided by M, I am going to get unity. What I mean to say is, summation of mass fractions of constituent gases is going to give me the unity, which is nothing but 1, which is nothing but overall mass of the mixture of gases. If I add these things, I am going to get overall mass of the mixture of gases, as simple as that. So that is what is mass fraction, and which is denoted by MF. Next thing is mole. Mole is a term. We need to understand this. Here, mole in the sense, it is a unit with which we are expressing certain weight of the given substance. What is that exactly? A mole of a substance is nothing but the or it is equal to the molecular weight of that of the substance numerically. If I want to say mole, it is nothing but numerically it is equal to molecular weight of that particular substance. So, make sure this mole is nothing but molecular weight of that of the substance MW. So, that is what is mole here. So, from now onwards for molecular weight I will be considering moles. So, that is what is mole here. Next thing is mole fraction. Once we have understood this mole, next we need to consider the mole fraction. For that purpose we need to look onto the overall number of moles of the mixture. Usually mole is expressed in terms of small letter n. If I need overall n that I have written over here, what is n here? It is the number of moles present in the mixture. If I need number of moles present in the mixture, then it is nothing but summation of individual moles of the constituent gases. Constituent gas A, which is nothing but Na, constituent gas A's number of moles of constituent gas B, number of moles of constituent gas C. If I summate all those things, I will get the overall number of moles of the given mixture, which is nothing but the mixture of perfect gases. So, that is what is N to me. Next thing is, upon understanding this, I need to look for mole fraction. How I can define the mole fraction? The notation for the mole fraction is, here notation I am giving is a little different. So, X, I will call it as X. Mole fraction is X because already MF has been given. M stands for mass fraction, that is what we have already said. For mole fraction I need to give different notation. For that purpose I have taken X. This X is defined. Wherever I will be defining the fractions, I am defining the fractions only for constituent gases. Please keep that in mind. So, now I will be defining these fractions for constituent gases. So, X has to be defined for a constituent gas. What I will do? I will call it as XA. What do you mean by XA now? Mole fraction of constituent gas A. XA is nothing but number of moles of constituent gas A divided by total number of moles of the mixture. Number of moles of constituent gas A divided by total number of moles of that of the mixture is nothing but the mole fraction of constituent gas A. In the similar way, mole fraction of constituent gas B is nothing but NB divided by N. In the same way, mole fraction of constituent gas B is NC divided by N. So, this is what is nothing but the mole fraction. Again, I can look onto that, consider in the same way what I have done for mass fraction, in the same fashion I am considering the mole fraction. Consider summation of mole fractions, XA plus XB plus XC. Those XA, XB, XC are nothing but the mole fractions of constituent gases A, B, C. Now, please dump the definition. XA is nothing but Na by N, Na divided by N, XB is nothing but NB divided by N, XC is nothing but NC divided by N. Now, Na plus NB plus NC, since the denominator is same, take LCM, denominator becomes N. In the numerator, I will be having Na plus NB plus NC. What is that Na plus NB plus NC? Which is nothing but N, where N is the total number of moles present in the given mixture of perfect gases. So, in the numerator I am going to get N divided by this N, I am going to get the unity again. Okay, now we have understood two of the fractions. Based on that understanding, we have two of the laws that needs to be understood. Very first one is Gibbs-Dalton's law, or it is also called as Dalton's law of partial pressure. We knew a partial pressure in the sense it is the part of the pressure which has been taken care or which has been possessed by a constituent gas. That is what is partial. We are talking with respect to the partial pressure. Partial in the sense it is the pressure related to constituent gas. That is what we are speaking over here. What are the constituent gases for us? A, B, C. what are the pressures that constituent gases are possessing? Pa, Pb and Pc. What is the overall mixture's pressure, which is nothing but P. Now I have written the Dalton's law of partial pressure. Try to understand this. P is equal to Pa plus Pb plus Pc. Here one thing is for very sure, P is the pressure of the mixture, which is equal to Pa plus Pb plus Pc, where Pa is the pressure of the constituent gas A, pressure of the constituent gas B, pressure of the constituent gas C. What is the law is saying to us? If we want overall pressure of the mixture of perfect gases, then we need to summate partial pressures of individual gases, pressure with which the gases are existing. So the law is very simple. Overall pressure of the mixture of perfect gases is equal to summation of partial pressures of constituent gases, provided these gases are existing at same volume and same temperature as that of this mixture. We need to keep these two things in mind. This is okay. When it is okay? When constituent gases as well as the mixture is at same volume and temperature. Then only this law will have the meaning. Then only this law will hold good for the future numerical aspects. That means summation of partial gases is equal to overall pressure of that of the mixture when volume and temperature are constant for both constituent gases as well as for mixture. Then what you mean by Pa or Pb or Pc? We are calling these things as partial pressures of that of the individual gases or constituent gases. We need to understand what is this partial pressure of constituent gas Pa. We need to understand this. Then only we will come to know what is the exact meaning of this particular law. This partial pressure of constituent gases, let me take constituent gas A. Partial pressure of constituent gas A is nothing but the pressure exerted by this gas alone. Pressure exerted by this gas alone when it is at same volume and same temperature of that of mixture. Pressure exerted by this gas alone when it is at same volume and same temperature of that of mixture, which is nothing but P. P is nothing but the pressure of the mixture. In the same way, pressure exerted by the pressure exerted by the constituent gas B when this is at V and T. In the simple fashion, what do you mean by PC? Pressure exerted by constituent gas C when it is occupying the same V and it is at the same temperature as that of the mixture, which is having V and T. So now it is very clear. Volume and temperature for mixture as well as for constituent gases are same. In such situations, overall pressure of the mixture becomes addition of partial pressures of constituent gases. This has been demonstrated by Gibbs and Dalton, and which is called as Gibbs-Dalton's partial pressure law, or simply Dalton's law of partial pressure. So this is what is the law which we need to understand. Very next thing is, here we are talking with respect to the pressure. Next thing is law which is related to the volume. The law has been proposed by scientist Amagat. Amagat's law of additive volume for mixture of perfect gases. Now look on to the volume equation. So now overall volume V, what you mean by V? V is the volume of the mixture. V is the constituent gases. If try to understand here, overall volume occupied by the mixture is equal to volume occupied by individual constituent gases, provided pressure and temperature at which the gases are existing as well as mixture is existing is same. Here I have not defined the volume as VA, VB, VC. That was not needed for me at the initial stage. But in this law, pressure and temperature are constant. I mean, one of the term what I have taken as variable at the initial stage. See here, PA, PB, PC. P is the variable. That is why I have kept V as constant. Now V itself is the variable. That is why I have kept P as the constant. So now volume of the overall mixture of perfect gases is equal to summation of partial volumes of individual gases or individual constituent gas, Va plus Vb plus Vc, at same pressure and temperature at which the mixture is existing. It is as simple as that. So now we need to understand what are these things, Va, Vb or Vc in the same fashion. What do you mean by Va? Va is nothing but the volume occupied by constituent gas A alone when it is at same pressure and temperature as that of mixture. In the same fashion, Vb is the volume occupied by constituent gas B alone when it is at same pressure and temperature of that of mixture. Vc is nothing but the volume occupied by the constituent gas C alone when it is at same pressure and temperature of that of mixture. So now it becomes very simple. Overall volume of the mixture of perfect gases is equal to volume occupied by, summation of volume occupied by the individual gases. That is what is been called as Avogadro's law of additive volume. If we observe both the laws, one thing is for sure. If you are talking with respect to one of the variable, how many variables we have here with respect to the ideal gases or perfect gases? Three main variables are present with us: pressure, volume and temperature. If you are talking with respect to pressure, please keep other two variables as constant. If you are talking with respect to pressure, volume and temperature is constant. In the same fashion, if you are talking with respect to volume, please keep other two terms as constant. They are nothing but pressure and temperature. As simple as that. That is how the laws were defined. One is Dalton's law of partial pressure, other one is Avogadro's law of additive volume. Let us look on to the next terms now. Okay, let us define the next term, which is nothing but the volume fraction. Again, I am trying to define the fraction itself. Just now I have understood what exactly the Avogadro's law of additive volume, wherein it says that volume of a mixture of perfect gases is equal to summation of volume of individual gases, provided P and T are constants. By keeping that in mind, I am trying to define the volume fraction. I am totally concentrating on volume. So it is denoted by Vf, volume fraction. Since I have not denoted V anywhere else along with the F, I am giving the same denotion as volume, V fraction F. Again, it is a fraction. You need to understand, fractions can only be defined for constituents. Because of that, I am defining all these things for the constituent itself. So I will take constituent A to define it. VFA, volume fraction of constituent gas A, is nothing but the volume occupied by constituent gas A divided by overall volume of the mixture. Constituent gas A alone volume divided by overall volume of the mixture is nothing but the volume fraction of constituent gas A. In the same fashion, volume fraction of constituent gas B is nothing but Vb by V. In the same way, volume fraction of constituent gas C is nothing but Vc by V. As simple as that. I am defining the fractions for constituent gases. So VFA is Va by V, VFB is Vb by V, VFC is Vc by V. Again, in the same fashion, what I have done for mass fraction as well as for mole fraction, I will consider, what is that? Summation of volume fractions VFA, VFB plus VFC, just to look on to what it is going to give me. Consider VFA plus VFB plus VFC. It is the summation of volume fraction of constituent gases. I have defined individual terms. I will substitute those equations over there. VFA is nothing but Va by V. VFB is nothing but Vb by V. VFC is nothing but Vc by V. Am I right on that? So now V is the constant thing. I will keep that in the denominator. If I look onto the numerator, it is the summation of individual gases volumes Va plus Vb plus Vc. Now we have just defined Amagat's law of additive volume. Amagat's law of additive volume is going to say us that overall volume of the mixture is summation of individual gases volume. By keeping that in mind, I can write a numerator as capital V divided by small v. I am going to get unity. Again I am going to get unity. So now it is very clear. We are defining fractions for constituent gases. We have till now defined 3 of the fractions. Very first one is mass fraction, second one is mole fraction. Upon defining Amagat's law of additive volume, I have defined volume fraction because I am in the interest of writing this. That is why I have first defined Amagat's law of additive volume, then I have written volume fraction. Finally, our conclusion is if I add mole fraction XA plus XB plus XC, what I am going to get? I am going to get unity. If I add VFA plus VFB plus VFC, what I am going to get? I am going to get unity. That means all the fractions are going to give me the unity finally. That means what I am doing is correct. What I am defining as the fractions is correct. So till now we have defined 3 fractions: mass fraction, mole fraction as well as volume fraction. Along with that, we have understood Dalton's partial pressure law as well as Amagat's law of additive volume. So this is what is for today's session. I have defined few terms related to mixture of perfect gases. In the next session, I will be defining few more terms and I will be discussing few more equations that I have to remember in order to look onto the numericals with respect to mixture of perfect gases. That we are going to look in the future session. Till then, namaste.